First and foremost, how's your day been?
Yeah, not too bad. Well, actually, what the fuck am I saying? The day's been absolutely mental. It's CPI day, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
and
Balls to the wall in the group.
yeah, everything going off. Obviously the result was max wreckage for everyone, which we'll go into. But yeah, it was as far as days go, it was a pretty stressful one.
Another bear market day in crypto then.
Yeah, just a sort of the standard bear market day, really. I mean, we've been going sideways for what feels like 10 years. And then you just have these really savage days every so often. But yeah, I think today we've got a few things on the agenda. We're not going to absolutely cram everyone with Bitcoin talk. Although I might go off at one point.
I was going to say you've got a week off, like.
Yeah, there might be some Bitcoin talk. Get seriously degenerate on Bitcoin. No, we're going to talk about Sushi Swap CEO fingering a horse, apparently, which is just nuts.
Classic.
Some hacks, the SEC, Nancy Pelosi, CPI, some stuff on influencers, Logan Paul, and a few other little bits in between. But that's pretty much all we've got on the agenda for today.
Nice. And yeah, for everyone out there, welcome to episode 2 of Degen Talk. Currently sponsored by absolutely nobody. It's just myself and my good friend Bleeding Hedge. Yeah, I think there's a few bits to talk about, so I suppose we can crack onto it. That first one is an absolute stomper, though.
Oh, it's a bit of a naughty one, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this was the story of Jared Gray, who's the CEO or head chef, as they like to call it, at fucking Sushi Swap. And I guess the main thing that sticks out about this story is that he apparently fingered a horse.
Yeah, I think not just fingered a horse, but I think actually got charged with fingering a horse. So from what I read of it, he was obviously just coming to the CEO position. I think he's got a bit of a sketchy background anyway, been involved with a couple of frauds and maybe general scams. Again, not accusing too much there, but this is the guy. And then what did crypto Twitter fucking
be careful what you say about
allegedly
fingering a horse, bro.
Allegedly.
Yeah, this is Jared Gray. Does he look capable of fingering a horse, do you reckon?
God, I'm not sure I'm the best barometer to know who is and who isn't capable, but I think there's potential.
But the story is he fingered a horse. He is the Sushi Swap CEO, and has been accused of a lot of bad shit as well, hasn't he? Scamming people through various different ways. I guess first thing, bro, and I don't know if you've looked into this much, but first thing to maybe kind of discuss is how did he get elected in the first place? I know it was through the DAO, but why has he been voted in, and then now it comes up a week later that he's fingered a horse?
Yeah, to be honest, I've got no idea. I didn't even realise he was brought in through a DAO. But again, it was a pretty tragic decision from the community, if so, because I think after all of this come out, Sushi dropped 10.5% or something in 24 hours, just absolutely dumped. But I suppose that's what happens when you elect a guy who allegedly fingered a horse. And I think what I found was so funny was, he was involved in some potential allegations of fraud, a bit of stuff back in 2012. I think there's something in crypto in 2019. And crypto Twitter does not give one shit about that. They just care about the fact this guy allegedly fingered a horse. I'm going to keep saying allegedly. It's just a bizarre one, isn't it? But again, another bear market tale. I think these are everywhere at the moment, but it doesn't end up surprising you.
Yeah, I mean, the other week we had Vitalik's massive hammer. And then this week we've got a guy fingering a horse. But I've got the thread up here about from this Yannick Crypto. Basically just drilled into him, and throughout the thread here, he kind of calls out what he did. Starting back in 2012, he had a Multiplex PC was the name of his company, which was basically multiple display monitors that go and kind of like set it up and stuff. And apparently he had infringed on some form of copyright. And then it kind of goes on to explain how he was involved in this project, LAQO.
Yeah. This was the crypto one.
Yeah, this was the one you're talking about in 2019. Apparently went and created a wallet, which ended up draining user funds. I don't know the details of that or anything else other than that. Apparently, paid himself 1 BTC.
What?
From doing that, I'm like, all right.
What was this in 2019 when it was like 6K or something as well? But,
I'm like, that's pretty low. That's pretty low, isn't it? Like,
I feel less bad about him now. To be fair, if he only got 1 BTC.
No. It does go on. It does go on, and then and then apparently, with this exchange called Bitfinian Exchange, which was apparently an endeavor that never started. He took 1 Bitcoin listing fees off a load of projects. Didn't end up even launching the exchange, so nothing happened, and apparently just made off with the money. Jared has come back and countered it, and a thread on that, which
we're not that interested in. We just know the fact that he potentially fingered a horse and that it's on public record, and everyone finds it hilarious. But yeah, I think Sushi Swap have had a bit of a mare there, to be honest. I don't know quite where that decision making come from, but nonetheless, it's pretty fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny. It is funny. I think it's just classic crypto shit, isn't it, bro? Just like some shitty, dodgy projects with some CEO that ends up, scam people. It's just
$1 billion shitty project, to be fair, but
was good. Sushi Swap was good at one point. Now I don't feel like it's great, and that was even before this whole thing happened. Obviously, in true crypto fashion, we had a crypto coin launched off the back of the scandal, which was called Horsey, which went up 6,000% in a day. I think that's a day, yeah.
I'm sure it did. It's like when, RIP, the Queen died the other day. We had Queen Inu within 24 hours, which 100x off the bottom and inevitably probably dumped into oblivion. But we just can't help ourselves in this space, can we, for God's sake?
Why are we not doing this, bro? Why how am I not making any money from this? You know what I mean? Horsey, that's a bit of me. Like, why aren't we creating projects? We should just create meme projects every week.
Yeah, come up with a roadmap. I don't know what a roadmap would be around a project that, surrounded about fingering a horse, but I'm sure we could find something, bring some utility to the community, horse riding lessons maybe or something, but
fingering a horse, I don't think you could do someone on like animal rights for that, because
I don't even want to know the intricacies of it. Like, was it malicious?
Yeah, you're getting into all that, aren't you?
Oh god. But,
well, anyway, no good for Sushi, but fuck them anyway. They're a shitcoin project.
Yeah, I think one thing I wanted to bring up, actually, we've had, again, some of the more bigger news for this week. We obviously we've had quite a few hacks, obviously, other multi-billion-dollar companies which have had a bit of a mare. And the first one I wanted to touch on was Binance, for God's sake. We kind of see hacks left and right, but this was a big one.
Yeah, pretty biggie.
Yeah,
half a billy.
Just a subtle $500 million. Yeah, so there was obviously, I think towards the back end of last week, the start of this week, it may have even been that Binance or BSC chain, Binance Smart Chain, got hacked for 568 mil. Ultimately, the hackers got away with like 110 million before the chain itself was halted. But again, it was just another cross-chain bridge attack, effectively, and there was just some hacker. Again, fortunately, it wasn't users' funds that were hacked. This hacker was able to mint effectively BNB tokens from the bridge, found an exploit, and yeah, ultimately minted 2 million BNB tokens to the tune of about 500 million, like you said, and got away with 110 mil, taking it to other chains like Ethereum before I think validators and the community stepped in, halted the chain, and ultimately didn't get away with the full amount. But pretty crazy coming from obviously Binance, who you expect so much of. But again, it's so common these days, these hacks, that it doesn't come as a massive surprise.
Bro, it's all like, why is it always bridges? Almost every nine times out of 10, it's a bridge.
There just must be something inherent. It's, again, I don't know the details of the smart contract too much, but they are a menace because there has been some serious losses. Again, even just this year, but over the years since 2018, 19, 20, when it was all kind of around, it's just been incessant. Billions and billions of dollars have been stolen through them, and I'm sure some people have made a hell of a living from just finding the exploit on them, to be honest.
What's the story with this specific one? Has the hacker got away with it? Have they traced the funds, blacklisted? Where are they at with it?
So pretty interesting. Again, one thing that I did find interesting about it. And again, it's another kind of topic, but yeah, the hacker took, like I said, 110 mil off chain. I'm not too sure where the funds are now. But what kind of happened was, and this, you may not get this on other chains like Ethereum. So validators, so the people who run the nodes for Binance Smart Chain, they all stepped in and effectively, due to the perceived lack of decentralization, they were actually able to halt the chain in its tracks to stop him getting away with the full amount. And what I thought was interesting was, if this was Ethereum, you haven't got a chance in hell, because particularly when it's proof of work, because there's so many nodes, people mining. But BSC is quite centralized in the sense that there's only a few validators. They were actually able to shut the chain down. So again, it's quite an interesting one, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword if you're looking at a blockchain from that decentralization perspective, because it kind of shows another frailty. I was thinking about this. Imagine it like BSC chain takes over the world, everyone's doing DeFi on it, and all these major governments or whatever, just hypothetically, at what point would the chain get halted because the government didn't like something, or because something happened that maybe someone at the top or someone made a mistake or something like that? Again, it just kind of brings all that into question. But I think the guy, made off with his 110. Whether he'll be able to turn it into fiat or cash is another question.
Well, I'm definitely of the opinion that there's a multi-chain world, centralized, decentralized, whatever.
Yeah,
that's good though that they were able to kind of halt that in that way. And yeah, let's see where this guy gets off with his 100 milli. I know. I'm not saying that this Binance was anything to do with this one in particular, but how many of these like hacks of these little projects, these whatever, how many of these hacks do you feel are just complete inside jobs?
It's a great question. I've seen someone tweet about this actually as well, and it really does bring it into the limelight, because who better to hack their own project than the guys who wrote the smart contract? And obviously you do this anonymously, you'd be able to pass this off as anything. I think in this case with BSC, I can hardly imagine CZ doing anything to run off with 110 mil, considering the guy's probably worth God knows how many billions, and they do that per trading pair on Binance. So I don't think in this case it was, but in terms of the smaller ones, I think there's definitely something to answer. The issue is, how the hell do you prove it,
It begs the question, bro. Yeah, done it. There you are. It begs the question, doesn't it, bro? Like, I just feel it's. I can't think of many places, bro, where you're able to essentially say to someone, all right, there's $100 million on the table here to just take. What are the repercussions? nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And interesting, like what you just on your point there is, if it is a small team, a small team's chasing shadows. If it was them, how much effort are they going to put in to chase this individual down? And law enforcement really that arse? They don't even understand what's just happened.
No, and we've said it before. Like, if I see a project's been hacked for $100 million on my feed, I might click on it. If and again, we've said there's just a lack of interest there. If something gets hacked, I'm not really that bothered. It happens so often. It's just like almost numb to it.
It's not a surprise.
It's not. There's nowhere else you can do that and get off with $100 million. And again, we've said as well as that, and that's not even when I'm a victim. If I'm a victim of it, we've said before, you lose $1,000, whatever equivalent to yourself, $500, $10,000, whatever. You lose that money through a hack. You haven't, 99% of people haven't got the nous to be able to look through that, and like, who's going to be able to forensically go through and be like, no, this wasn't hacked, something else happened here. Like, hardly anyone. So you just take it as like, yeah, fine, I lost some money in crypto, that's it. Like, whatever. Like, I've lost loads of money from stuff just getting rugged. NFTs, NFTs getting rugged, and you're just like, oh, I just got rugged, whatever. That's just the way it goes. So it's just...
It was easier to laugh about in the bull run, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course,
We jumped on the end of meme coins, didn't we? And like, this is fucking stupid. This is stupid. 6, 7, 8 months of people just making 1,000Xs left and right. We jump in at the end, bang. I think I lost $2,000 in like a week. It's like just obliterated.
I did YOLO some money onto shit coins. But again, like, there was like 20 odd shit coins, and like, I reckon about 16 of them probably got rugged, and I wasn't arsed. Like, it was just, it is what it is.
I think I had Shiba Saw, Keanu Inu, which was, it was just like, what are we doing? But we were so late on that.
That probably goes down as the most retarded play of my entire life.
But like you said, you kind of laughed it off. I know it's not really a laughing matter, and it would be less laughing today, but...
But you see what I just said there? Like, without even thinking, that was the most retarded play of my life. And you kind of put the blame back onto yourself. Like, as being an idiot for doing it in the first place. That, like, the incentive is there. There's a huge incentive for them to steal hundreds of millions of dollars. And, yeah, especially in a bear market, man. Like, when they're like, oh, there's still 50 mil on the table. Like...
Sure, and I do generally think, although there is potential that, there are some inside jobs here, I think a lot of them are, just really exploitable smart contracts. Just so over this year, I read this, there's been over $2 billion stolen from bridges alone this year in hacks. We had Axie Infinity's Ronin bridge got done for like 625 million. We had the Harmony bridge got done for 100 mil. Recently, we had the Solana one, the Nomad bridge, that got done for 190 mil. And then most recently, there was, what was it, yesterday? Was it yesterday, the Mango Markets one?
Yeah, Mango Markets. That was 100 mil, wasn't it?
110 mil, just, completely obliterated. I did want to dive into that one a little more just because it's so kind of fresh in the memory. Because this one was actually quite interesting. So
I followed a little bit on this myself, but not much. Go on.
Yes, so I won't go into too much details. Jump in when you want, but yeah, some guy, obviously, it wasn't your traditional hack where he just kind of jumped on and stole everything, but he manipulated the price on the Oracle. Long story short, he ended up draining the liquidity pool of 110 mil. All the stable coins, 60, 70 mil of them, Solana, BTC, and all the Mango tokens.
Wait, what's the Oracle?
So Chainlink, so effectively manipulated the price on it. Again, it's really complex. We won't go through it now, but he manipulated the price of the price in Oracle for Chainlink on Mango, and effectively messed with the price, got stuff really cheap, went uber long, and ended up taking all the liquidity out of the pool through manipulation really on the price. I won't pretend to know the ins and outs of it, but The funniest thing about this one, I say funny, it's tragic for anyone who lost money, but
Yeah.
the funniest thing
Sorry.
is, so he stole like all the Mango tokens off the platform. And what he did was, so Mango's a DAO, and a DAO is decentralized governance. People can vote, holders of the token can vote to put proposals through. And this guy, he stole all the tokens, stole everything off the platform, and then made a proposal to the community saying, let's let the hacker keep 50% of everything and we won't pursue him at all and he'll return the rest. And then used the 35 million Mango tokens that he stole to vote on it and got it instantly passed. So, you know, this guy's...
Bang the proposal into the DAO and then used his tokens to vote get the yes vote from
and
it.
Just got 99% yes because he's stolen all the Mango.
So he agreed to give back 50% and then let him keep the rest.
Yeah, under the guise that there's no criminal investigation, no one can track him down. And to be honest, it's pretty fucking Chad of him. Like,
you know what, mate? I've got nothing but a bit of respect for that. Like, I
nothing
think,
but a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a little bit of respect. It's good. It's good to actually, he's given back the money. I imagine that. I would hope if I was going to do it, I would do it. And I would put, the proposal would be kind of just something along the lines of give everyone back their money and just close down the project. Like, you fucked up. Like, give everyone back the money, take what's left, and just close the project down.
I think the fact he's going for 55 mil is quite bad. He could probably, like, it's a good day's work if he gets 7-8 mil. If he's like, look, I'll take 5-10% off the top, and you lot get a slap on the wrist and never come look at me again. But he's going for 50 mil. He's going for generational wealth in a night's work.
When you put it like that, was it like, I remember, was it like FTX that, was it FTX where someone figured out a way to be able to, it was Coinbase. A hacker had figured out a way to literally print money. Like, I think he was able to create he was able to basically create an order without having the capital, so he could do a long on Bitcoin for $5-10 million without having that money, and then the price would go up or down, and then he could just take the profit, and it would actually be it was just an order. I think he just put an order in, 50 Bitcoin, order, buy, done.
Oh, like spoofing almost.
Yeah, but he didn't have the money in his account. Buy 50 Bitcoin, and it just bought 50 Bitcoin. That was in his account, and he just
withdraw it. Jesus.
Well, I think yeah. Take it off the exchange straight away, and he found the attack, and then I think Coinbase gave him $200K. It's like,
what, to chill out?
No. He reported it like he was a good guy,
right,
and was like, by the way, I've found this bug in your system that does this. Can you sort me out? Obviously, but standard bug bounty kind of stuff, and they just gave him $200K, mate.
Yeah,
sure.
I think they're called white hat hackers who hack to do the vulnerability but don't exploit it for everything that they've got. Really funnily, you mentioned FTX. The funny thing about this Mango guy, right, which is going to be a problem for him, is he funded the wallet, so he had to use 5 mil stables to do this trade. To manipulate it, he needed capital to do it. It wasn't just take it out of the wallet. He had to drain the wallet through this ridiculous trade that he shouldn't have been able to do. But he's funded that from an FTX, which is a KYC'd account. Now, I think I'm pretty certain it's not going to be his details, obviously fake, but you've got to imagine there's a paper trail there, whoever the hell's account it is. And I suppose my question to you is or just generally, you'd have to cut a deal, right? You wouldn't run off with that 100 mil and watch over your shoulder forever, and you'd have to cut a deal.
No way, no. I think just morally as a person, like I can't know that everyone lost everything. Like I'd have to give back to at least make sure. I would honestly look at what it would take to cover losses and salary for a year or two of the company, and just be like, there you go, shut down. You're not good enough. Move on. Start again. Like, yeah, you'd have to figure out a deal.
I suppose if you had $1,000 in Mango, and someone said you've just been hacked for everything, but I'm going to give you 900 back, you'd probably be like, all right, no, like, fair enough, nice one. So if he went and took 10 mil off that, I think they'd probably accept, and he probably walks away with a clean nose. And we're saying he, like, it could well be a she. It's just 99% of people in crypto are generally male, or 90%. So,
well, mate, you say that. That just reminded me. Do you remember Razzle Khan, the Bitfinex lady that hacked Bitfinex back in the day? The fuck, mate, $1 billion like hack.
The 100 was it 120k BTC or something like that? Yeah, and then
over 100,000 Bitcoin, bro.
And then they come out recently, didn't they? The two of them looked. It was her and her boyfriend that looked interesting to say the least.
Absolute character. She called herself Razzle Khan. That was like a rap name, wasn't it? She had loads of videos of her like gyrating with a fanny pack on, and oh mate, I mean, like peak crypto shit like that. It had to be someone like that, and then a weird little creepy boyfriend that just looked like a little slave.
That, to be fair, again, but come on, if you've stole 120k Bitcoin, at least siphon some out properly and do it. They got caught like straight away when they started moving it a year ago or something like that. It was like,
well, no, they cashed out a few $100,000, at least minimum. Like, a lot. They cashed out a lot. Like,
I don't think it was more. It wasn't millions.
No. To be honest, bro, yeah, they didn't live like they had 100,000 Bitcoins. You know what I mean? Like, it was very frugal, like not crazy, but they still led and comfortable. They were comfortable. I mean, she had time to be a rapper and fucking gyrate with a fanny pack on around all day. So like, they made money.
Yeah. But if we can find the funny videos, we'll chuck them in the edit because they are funny.
We'll get them in for sure. And then I remember the day that all of them moved like at once. It was obviously like, whoa, someone's just moved. Someone moves 100,000 Bitcoin in this space. It's like everyone watches.
Yeah, there's no getting away from that.
And I remember when they moved and everyone shit themselves. And I said in the group, I imagine that's like the US authorities taking the Bitcoin back. And then a few hours later, it literally came out. Boom! U.S. authorities seized 100,000 Bitcoin. I was like, "Whoa!" They left it in the cloud, bro. They left a Bitcoin wallet, like seed phrase, with 100,000 Bitcoin in the cloud, bro.
Oh my days! What the fuck?
Like what? Like, mate, can't do that. You just can't do that. You can't be serious.
Do you know what? Talking about this reminds me so much. Obviously we remember the Silk Road, right? And we've got Mr. Ross Ulbricht, who probably got the shittest end of the stick of everything that's ever happened. But I always remember the story of, obviously, back then, Bitcoin. Even we've had a little look back in the day of the old Silk Road. But Bitcoin, you're buying a bag of weed for 3, 4, 5 Bitcoin because it was 2013, 14, and it was worth nothing. But I always remember the story of he got lifted. So when Dread Pirates Robert and he got lifted, I think his personal account had 230,000 Bitcoin in it. What his commissions off what had gone through, he had 230,000 Bitcoin. At the peak, what's that? It's got to be like $5 billion.
Mate, I remember watching a little docu-series about Ross Ulbricht, and I'll never forget a part in it where because he went under the radar, didn't he? Even with his friends, that he shared a house with a load of like university like type people who were all getting good jobs. They were becoming lawyers and doing all this stuff, and the lives were really moving forward. And he basically posed as he was running an online bookstore. to his friends in the house, and that was all he was doing. So they kind of looked down on him a bit, like, "What are you doing, Ross?" And I'm just
obviously a
doing
very
it.
academic household, wasn't it? Everyone's Harvard or whatever the hell they're doing. Yeah,
exactly. Everyone's a bit judgmental, and I remember him saying the most painful part of the whole process, the whole entire process, was having to sit in that house and take shit off everybody. And in his words, he was like, knowing I was worth billions, and they were worth nothing. It was just like, whoa.
It was, again, it's like, I kind of understand. I think he maybe got shafted. There was obviously some, I think why he got 40 years without parole or anything, or life without parole, is this whole assassination thing. Maybe this is a different podcast for us to do, but, it's just almost like the Tornado Cash guys. He just built a service, built a website. I know it was a little dodge. Obviously, he was selling drugs online and stuff, but to get $5 billion lifted off you and life forever is pretty rough.
No, mate, free the guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, free the guy.
I agree.
He's like, I looked at I looked at what happened there, and go and listen to it yourselves. Anyone listening, or go and watch it. But he was just a bit of a nerdy character, man. He was just in that online world, and someone's like, "I'll fucking kill them for you if they stole off you," and you're like, "Yeah, fucking kill them. Like, I'll sort you out."
Yeah,
like,
sure.
It's just, I think he's definitely learned his lesson. I think free the guy. He's obviously bright. Let him do something innovative and controversial.
Get him to do 5 years with whatever dodgy criminal organization you've got in the US. He can probably figure a few things out for you there.
Well, it's like that guy. Do you remember? You watch Catch Me If You Can? The guy that.
Yeah.
He went on to work for the FBI in check fraud, didn't he? Bank fraud, financial fraud, and he ended up helping and innovating in the financial fraud department for the authorities for years and years and years, decades. Like, why wouldn't you? Especially right now as well. You'd want someone like Ross on your side to say, help us with this shit.
Well, effectively, he brought utility to Bitcoin. Where it kind of, Bitcoin probably wouldn't be where it would be today without that. I don't know what would have created that kind of traction in terms of transaction value without, drugs online.
I think what you've just said there is like almost a very fair statement that like Bitcoin might not exist as it does today without him. It might not. It was a huge part, wasn't it?
Well, buying 2 pizzas is one thing, but creating a global marketplace and distributors and actually facilitating trustless transactions is in such a way is another one. I think he's got to be credited with a lot, and it just makes you think. If again, it's kind of like Biden coming out recently and kind of talking about letting all these potheads out who America have had for the years, but it's almost like if Bitcoin does go to play this major role, and this guy can't still be sat in prison for creating a website 15, 20, 25 years earlier, whenever this does or doesn't happen, when effectively he brought utility to the one thing that we all quite rely on quite heavily or has so much value. It's insane.
Yeah, it is, and we're creeping into the Bitcoin territory again. we just can't help ourselves. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, we're not Maxian, but yeah. So this week we had some big ass hacks. This year we've had some big ass hacks. Bridges are fucking tragic, and if Binance is even getting hustled, then it needs to get sorted. But we'll speak about another one next week when, if there's another hack between this episode 2 and 3, I swear to God, it would not surprise me. It's probably like a 2-to-1 odds. Like,
I'll start hacking. I'm gonna start getting into that.
Degen Talk Inu incoming after we've done it. Yeah.
So what happened with the SEC this week? We'll move on to that.
Yeah. Go on. I think you. I think you know a lot more than me.
I had some bits to talk about with the SEC. We've had the bill proposed. Essentially, a load of Congress are obviously insider trading stocks, and that's kind of come to light. That this article that I found basically says that like 20% of them trading stocks, but I imagine that that's probably more like 40 or 40% of his.
Yeah, find out how many of their kids and cousins are also trading stocks. Then you get the real figure.
Yeah, like who's admitted to that? Like, I'm sure you know. Yeah, 20% of Congress members are buying and selling stocks. So there may be some conflict of interest.
Come on.
It's an absolute fucking joke, mate. It's gotten to that point now where it's just like, what the fuck is going on? Why are we allowing this to happen? Like, why are we allowing this to happen?
It's clearly just a rigged game on so many levels, particularly in the US. But you're a schmuck if you think it's not going on everywhere through more or less everything. But the US is insane. What about Nancy? She's up to something, isn't she, as well?
This is the joke, mate. It's like she's the one, like, kind of, she'll have big influence on that bill going through, and she's the most prolific one out of them all. Like, what? How are we letting that go through and letting them take charge of it? Like, it's just like, it's so fucked. It's so fucked up.
It's pretty scary. I think you look at, I was saying this the other day, we look back on history of like the Romans and how they would just tax people at will and take what they wanted and all this crazy stuff, and we're like, they're so barbaric. But you're going to look back on this and be like, these lot were just fiddling it. Probably worse than ever with the age of technology and globalization, that people are just getting absolutely drilled beyond, without them having to come around and take your gold out your pockets and shave it down like they would have hundreds and thousands of years ago. They just do it now from behind a screen with legislation that tells them it's all right. It's absolutely insane.
Mate, it's just it's disgusting levels of greed. It is disgusting levels of greed. There's no way you can sit there and they're like, oh, I know that we're going to be looking at proposing a bill to allow cannabis to go through in a few weeks.
Yeah.
I'll put a few $1 million in some cannabis stocks or whatever. Like, there's not a chance you sit there and just think that's okay and that's completely fine. But Nancy, the fact is that Nancy Pelosi's salary a year is like $200,000 a year, but she has $200 million.
Yeah.
$200 million. She's the most successful. She outperforms any successful hedge fund in the world. Outperforms them all. She's the best.
Absolutely insane. And yeah, I remember that being in the bull run. It's like, you're not lucky, you're not a genius, you're just... Well, is there more of a definition of insider trading? Like, I'm not actually sure there is. Like,
no. Like, you're trading with inside information that the rest of the market is not privy to. Like, it's just like...
And acting on it ahead of time.
Yeah. There's nothing stronger than that in terms of insider trading. She absolutely traded the hell out of Tesla and just absolutely killed it with Tesla. When they proposed an electronic vehicle bill, she was balls deep in Tesla before that came through. Yeah. And then she made so much cash off it. She short stuff, she long stuff. She's an absolute mercenary.
It's one of those as well, like, how, I don't even know how, do you know what I mean? You have those little crypto heads who were worried about, well, if it was in the US, I would be this transaction here, swapping this NFT for this, taxable here and there. And like, there couldn't be more blatant insider trading going on in the White House with the people who make the rules, and there's just not a single repercussion. But I suppose that's just modern history. Like, how long has that been happening for now without us thinking? So,
well, she did it. Nancy did it the other day with the weed stocks. Apparently, a weed bill's coming through. Nancy Pelosi had bought like $1 million worth of, 1 million shares of this ETF weed, I think it is, or stock. Even when the news came out that she bought it, the whole sector went up 20-30%.
Yeah,
it's
insane. No, it is insane. And then I think, just while we're on the subject, actually, we had this week as well, speaking of the SEC, obviously all of this goes straight over the heads, not a single worry, but we had the Bored Ape Yacht Club being quite heavily invested by the SEC for their whole ape token, and effectively the claim that
well, that's what they're busy doing, bro. That's what they're busy doing. Fucking crypto up.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just so Nancy could get a lower entry on some Bored Apes or something.
Yeah.
But she effectively this one is they're coming after the Bored Ape Yacht Club and saying, you know, the NFTs are securities, and that's another debate for another time whether they are or aren't, but all these ape tokens are effectively the dividend, and, you know, they're coming to play here rather than looking a bit closer to home with everything that we've just kind of spoke about, which it just speaks volumes, doesn't it? What they're not invested in or not interested in or threatened by is where they'll go, and, you know, the actual issues at hand is no one gives two hoots up there. So it's crooked.
It's fucked. It's the all it is, bro. Is Gary Gensler is a little bitch, like a little bald bitch that like he won't dare go and take Congress on because a load of them are his mates, and they'll just be like, fuck off, Gary, you bald bitch. Like go back to your box and just fucking sort crypto out. Do something.
Go and shine that head at home because we're not listening, you know.
Yeah, mate. Just fuck off, Gary. You know,
it was fun. It's funny though, because have you seen there's one of the first, not one of the first videos, but there's a video of Gary Gensler giving a blockchain talk at Stanford or whatever the technology thing is. It's an hour long. It's on YouTube. You could find it right now. And he's talking about crypto, you know, emerging technology, interesting stuff. You know, I think the government probably seen that and said, right, do you want the biggest financial job in the land, but this is the narrative, and he took it, and now he's
the thing. Yeah, of course. Like he used to, you know, he said Bitcoin is a commodity, and that's great. So I'm like, yeah, okay, nice one, Gary. But at the same time, I also understand that he said that because he knows there's fuck all he can do about it. For one,
yeah.
And I guarantee if Satoshi was sat at home, fucking, you know, plowing World of Warcraft and fucking eating Pop-Tarts and doing cryptography, like he'd have been like, yeah, let's go after that guy Satoshi and shut Bitcoin down. Like, it's not a commodity, it's a security. Like, it's just the fact that you can't stop it. But where they can go to people directly, centralized, like they will go for them and they will go for the jugular and take them out of business.
And I will say this, it won't work. Web3 will get too big, Bitcoin will get too big. But though, it still doesn't change the fact that they're going to, and we still have to sit here and watch it happen. And some stuff's fair, some stuff's unfair. Again, whether you believe in freedom of being able to create stuff, Tornado Cash, and how them guys got, you know, arrested for making an application, whether people use it for illegal activity or not. Same with our kid we were just talking about, Mr. Ross Ulbricht. Like, people have to make the decision to use it. If no one ever used it, was there ever a crime committed? But again, it's a different debate. But again, long term, they won't. I don't think they'll stop any of it. Well, maybe they'll stop some of it, particularly some of the dodgy Web3 stuff. But ultimately, it just makes them look hypocritical and a bit ridiculous.
I think they'll go for the low hanging fruit, like the big boys, like that's like, okay, it's big, it's done well, it's successful, and it's centralized. Like let's go after that. Like that's the low hanging fruit for them. So Bored Ape Yacht Club, I imagine, easy target.
One thing I would say is I imagine that the billions of dollars that the Bored Ape Yacht Club have, they will be armed to the teeth with good lawyers. They'll be armed to the teeth as well. And again, they don't.
There is that, but at the same time, it's like they've got an infinite pot of money at the SEC, bro.
Yeah, like, fair enough. But I still don't think you can still only make one argument, and I don't know if they'll take them down. But it's just the fact that they're going to kick. They're kicking NFTs in the balls. They're going for the big dog. You know, it's just all of that. Frighten innovation out of the room.
They'll do what they can, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, Bored Apes aren't gonna just absolutely crumble to nothing because a Bored Ape, I'm sure Bored Apes become that big that someone in Saudi Arabia would pay $100,000 for a Bored Ape, like no bother.
Exactly.
Like, whatever. Like the fact that the US has banned it, like come on. So
that's another big question. I always think this, and I'm like, yeah. So anything
they'll get rinsed for their ape token, though. I think so.
Again, I just don't know if it'll work that hard. Like you said, because of decentralization, you'd just up and leave, wouldn't you, if you were some of these businesses? But this is what I quite like about crypto. It's not the same as dollar orientated ETFs, NASDAQ, anything that has to run through a federal government. Crypto isn't that. You're going to get countries that'll go, you know what, you don't fancy it, we will. And then it can't, because it's decentralized in that nature and it's all code, cryptography, it can't just be a wiped out. You can't just be isolated to one spot. The whole point is that it can't be isolated to one point of failure, or shouldn't be. And that's the whole interesting take on it. Whatever the US can do, will they cut the nose off to spite their face? Will they maybe come to a compromise? I'm sure they'll keep making it awkward. If anything threatens the dollar, I'm sure they're going to go balls deep on stopping it. But it's just that's the nice thing about crypto. It's not like the stock market or something where you couldn't even, what could they do? They could sanction these countries, but it's just, it all becomes a bit much at that stage.
Well, I think that the other bigger part of that as well is a lot of countries probably are going to start coming under a lot of, well, they already are coming under a lot of strain from the dollar, and that looks like it's set to continue, which probably leads us quite nicely into the next topic, which was just having a quick look at, we had CPI today and the state of the economy, and I'm not going to ramble on for too long, but we obviously had CPI today, didn't we? It was exciting, to say the least.
Which is what, for people who may not know?
The Consumer Price Index is the CPI, basically the inflation data that we got today. So, split up between core and headline inflation. We had the inflation rate month over month come in at 0.4, and we were expecting 0.2, 0.3, around about that. So we came in over expectations, and we also came in over expectations on the core inflation rate as well, which we were looking for 0.5. We came in at 0.6, which is pretty grim. I'll be honest, that's not great.
So the long and short of it is, it's worse than everyone thought again.
Well, no. You know what? I was quite excited to talk about this part because I think it's an interesting one. And I put all this information out in the group as well. But I was expecting, first of all, before the report came out, I was expecting the headline number would come in above expectations, but the core number would actually come in below expectation. And the reason why I thought that was going to happen was because I felt that in the last report we had a lot of help from energy, and then this time around we wouldn't have as much help from energy, which would drive up the headline inflation number. But we didn't get that. We just basically got we got then the core number coming in above as well, and I thought that was going to come in below, but shelter, like the price of rents came in pretty sticky again, and the price of transportation services really kind of drove this up, and just the price of services in general. So I was expecting headlines to come in above and core to come in below, but that didn't happen. Both came in above, but the reason was mainly for core coming in above was due to the transportation and shelter part of the report. But generally looking at the rest of it, honestly speaking, I don't think this is a horrendous report in terms of this is what the Fed's trying to do. And these two, this certainly the shelter component, which is the biggest component of the core CPI in the first place. This is massively delayed data, and I've seen data already that shows that these numbers are coming down. It's just this is 6 to 9 months delay on it. So, I think that people looked at the initial print, which was horrendous, and everyone shat the bed, and then in the end, we ended up pumping back. So I think that that just says it all, really.
Yeah.
So I think, all in all, I'm expecting inflation to start coming down. Like I am. And, take those laggy components out of it, it is coming down. So the Fed is doing its job. I'd like to see rallies till month end now, really, based on this. So I'm kind of expecting that we do rally till month end. And then I really think the narrative at the moment is that what could happen off the back of this report and over the next few days is that the report's not actually that bad. The Fed might pivot soon. Job losses are coming up. Fed might pivot soon. That sends us further over the next few weeks, and then reality hits. We're going to get a load of earnings that are going to be terrible over the next few weeks, like terrible. So I think that's when we hit real recession realization. Like I think that happens here, and this is that market cycles.
That's the chart
comparison. Like
yeah.
Complacency, anxiety, denial, panic, capitulation, anger, depression, disbelief. That, and for me, this look, it works quite well at the moment.
That bottom depression candle would be absolutely disgusting. Back to March 2020 would be absolutely disgusting.
And it makes sense. I think that here, bear in mind, in just here, what's this? 1, 2, 3. Roughly 3 to 4 weeks ago, we had record retail buying, nearly the second biggest retail inflow on record. So people still buying stocks there. Record shorting down here. It makes sense for me to go up for a little bit and then come straight back down. We haven't had that massive retail capitulation yet. I don't think we've had that. So I'm waiting for it. But, I think at the same time, you have to be so flexible in this environment at the minute because it's unprecedented.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. I tell you what, it's obviously we're based here in the United Kingdom, and we've seen Fed raise the rates, inflation's still going up. What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? The Bank of England.
Mate, you know what, though? Like, the thing I'm laughing about is most of my net worth is in USDC or USDT or BUSD. Like,
honestly, I've made more Great British Pounds in the last 12 months, 6 months than I could have ever dreamed of. Like, plus 30% in terms of, like, net wealth, like, if thingy. But everything that wasn't wrapped up in Bitcoin or whatever, anyway. But, so just to come on to the UK, we spoke about in the last episode, announced that 65 bill, more stimulus, 10% inflation is not enough. We need more cash. Everything's falling apart. Pensions are fucked. And then earlier this week, or towards the back end of last week, was it? They said, you know what, we're doing 5 mil a day. It's not enough. We need to start doing 10 bill a day for another week or something like that. So they doubled down on top of the quantitative easing that we had last week, and we're printing more. It's honestly incredible, isn't it?
That was nuts. He came out and said, "Yeah, we're stopping it in 3 days," and then the market, every market around the world, absolutely cratered, bro. Like from Saudi Arabia all the way to the US, everything absolutely cratered. And he quickly backtracked, and there was talks of him then speaking to people directly and saying, "Don't worry, we're gonna backstop it till whenever we need to." It's all bullshit, mate. It's all absolute bullshit. This for me is gonna, this is my most likely scenario to play out at the moment. But there's so many ruthless bear market rallies in this. I thought that this was great. Where was it? I had a chart of it. It was fucking funny. This is the ARK Innovation ETF. The one that's run by Cathy Wood.
Oh yeah.
This was quality. And then they put the psychology of a market cycle next to it. I thought was just
I saw this as well.
So funny, bro. Obviously, you get the picture. Euphoria's up here. This is like one of the most accurate charts against this psychology of a market cycle because it's so linked to retail investors. It's unreal.
Yeah, look how accurate that is.
Anxiety, denial, panic, and then here, bro, and then anger. She sends a letter to the Federal Reserve to start raising rates. And then in the psychology chart, who shorted the market? Why did the government allow this to happen? Mate, it's just like,
wow, it's just playing out. It's just playing out in front of us. It's insane. I don't know where she'll be down at depression there, but
I know. Yeah, I'm waiting for Kathy to get to depression mode, and that's when I'll start buying.
There's defo a buy or sell signal there. Whatever her next request is, or Kathy Wood resigns, that's probably the buy signal of a lifetime or something, you know. Kathy Wood steps down, watch her guru tweet, 13th of February 2023, that's when I'm buying. We shall see. We shall see.
Bless Kathy. Send help to Kathy. Someone send help to Kathy.
Yeah, R.I.P.
On to the next point. The Twitter post that we had from Zach XBTC on Lark Davis. Sorry. Did you see this?
I did see this. I followed Zach XBT. Bit of a legend, doing God's work in the crypto space, calling people out who are doing unscrupulous things. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw this story this week and I thought it was quite interesting. And basically called out the fact that Lark has apparently been dumping over $1.3 million worth of tokens on his followers. I won't go through the whole thread because it's quite in detail of the transactions specifically that were performed and everything else. So we won't go into that now, but you can find the thread yourself. But basically shows that all the transactions that were made and the tweets that he did beforehand. Take example ShopX. He tweeted out that it was going to moon and it was going to be doing great. And then market dumped like $500,000 worth of tokens straight after that.
Yeah, I think this was the 2021 influencer playbook who could get away with it into liquidity, wasn't it? It was get IDO spots or get, big private round investment spots and tweet about it. There's several, again, not to call anyone out, alleged, the Wolf of Wall Street guy, whatever he's called, I forgot his name. He got absolutely slammed by Zach XBT as well. But yeah, get a load of tokens, get your early pre-sale, whether you've got 10% unlocked or 100% unlocked, tweet how bullish it is, post IDO, candle pump, and then bang, dump that instantly, 50x, whatever you've got, see you later, on a deck somewhere, and move on to the next one because everyone's bullish anyway.
It is, Brad. It is really bad, bro. Lark did come back with a response to the allegations, and said that obviously defending himself. It wasn't me, and sorry, I didn't.
I think he was saying, I've read it as well. He was saying more just like
find it.
Everyone takes profit. It's like, everyone. Yeah. I'd tell all my followers to take profit on the position. Yeah, but not after you've just told 2/3 of your entire following to buy the token so you can sell into their buying pressure. And clearly, if you were a good guy, they would have been buying at the same price as you, which isn't possible. We get that. And again, not one to point too many fingers, but let's get it right. You dumped onto your followers.
Yeah, it is, mate. It is just dumping onto your followers. Like, sadly, it is just kind of the majority of what influencer content is, or was in the ballroom. Which Lark definitely looks like a guy you'd want to smack in the face, isn't he? Really? Like, he just absolutely is that kind of character you just want to give a good old backhand to. Yeah, mate, dickhead. And then, his response was weak. Like you said, it was just I always tell my followers, this is my investment strategy of take profit when things pump. And
yeah,
shut the fuck up.
it's everyone knows the game, unfortunately. I
But
think
it's the wide. Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say it's kind of one of those where it's who they're taking advantage of, and it's generally people who are quite new to crypto. They come in, altcoins are the one, you're going to buy all this, and it's it's these people who get wrecked. I think people who've been here long enough, maybe like ourselves and stuff, you treat an influencer tweet the same way you treat as a meme coin buyer, right? It's the same thing. It's like, sometimes you might 10x out of it. A lot of the time, they're selling the tokens directly into you. And it's like, but for the new people and the guys who just jump on YouTube and the people who borrow $2,000 out of the mum's pension pot or whatever we've seen these horror stories of, they're the ones who can't forget about it. So,
which is the problem, I think, at the moment. Just like influencer YouTube, crypto YouTube content in general at the moment is just like absolutely horrendous, mate. It's all the same people talking about price and Bitcoin, like standard. They've all got the same. It's all the same spiel, like over and over again. Of just like, this is where I think Bitcoin price is going today. This, and then the next day, just as predicted, this is where I thought Bitcoin price would go, and it goes in the opposite direction. It's just like, mate, fucking every video, like non-committal. It could go this way, it could go that way, but I'm going to say it in a really confusing way, and everyone, it's just like, hey, fuck me. Really bad, and everyone's like turned onto macro now as well, and everyone talks about macro, and it's really depressing.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's quite a fantastic indicator, isn't it, in terms of where you shouldn't be generally. I think this is a really funny game within crypto. There's so many dynamics. You can almost make more money without TA, without fundamentals, and actually just understanding human psychology, or what I mean. There's so many nuances to this weird little game that we all play on the internet, which 90% is recorded on Twitter, and all the deals are done in Discord, and no one knows each other, and we're all swapping JPEGs for however much money. It's a surreal little environment. I'm not quite sure it's what Satoshi had in mind, but it's pretty fucking fun.
It is fun, mate, and you can use that. Like for me, anyway, personally, I just use the influencer side as an indicator. Like, watch 5 or 6 influencer videos on, going into a CPI print and see what they're all saying. Weigh up a load of other things as well and build a picture, and then watch that last, see what they're all saying, and then look at what you've kind of theorized. And, generally, not generally, I'm saying that the last 2 major bear market rallies in this recent bear market on the indexes, the US indexes, have been the most easy, predictable ones to ever predict. Like, it's been so easy to make so much money on the bear market rally and the downside move. 13th of September, everyone FOMOing into a bear market, like CPI, into a CPI print.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck was that? Like, that was just like so obvious. So, yeah, go watch the influencers and listen to the bullshit. But in reality, like, you can just use them as a really nice counter indicator. So just do that.
And then it's their communities or their following and the viewers that are fuel to the fire, which is kind of fair enough. It's just people being led astray generally and following this one take, and contrarian take's usually the one that gets you paid,
Easiest analysis you'll ever do in your life, which is the other thing is with this as well, is the inverse Kramer ETF that came out this week. We had that, which is absolutely outrageous. I saw a tweet. I don't know. I don't think it was actually genuinely from him. It was like, I've seen someone's created an inverse Kramer ETF. Suck my balls.
It wasn't from him, but I saw the same tweet. Yeah,
it wasn't from him. I didn't think it was, but
it's just such a good meme.
Someone has filed and successfully filed for an inverse Kramer ETF. SGIM for the long Kramer ETF. LGIM will be, stream of consensus. I'm guessing that's a short one.
Yeah. They're inverse to one another.
Yeah, sorry, the short GIM and long GIM. What am I saying? which is fucking hilarious that someone's actually managed to do that and get it through. Is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think it's a great strategy for any like ETF fund trying to like create some like memeability and volume in an ETF. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, for sure. I think I read an article on it, and they were planning it since like February.
Really?
Yeah, or like I think that's when they first thought about it, and then March and April, and he's just done them favour after favour by calling absolute shite in between. I've got a couple actually. we were obviously talking about this Kramer ETF, and it was pretty funny. So what did he say? He said that, let me pull it up here. He mentioned that so Coinbase was an absolute steal at $248.
Yeah, I remember that one.
So Coinbase is so undervalued at $248. Currently today sitting at I think 78 or something like that. I think he told everyone to short Netflix in 2012 and in like 2020 or something like that. The 2012 one, it did like 180% in 6 months. It was same with Best Buy. They did 100% in 6 months after his inverse call. So for anyone who doesn't know, Jim Cramer is one of that bald guy that Bleeding Heads just brought up, but he does the Bloomberg financials. He's always on the telly. Quite an entertaining, like weird character, but in terms of
Money, I think Mad Money is his show. I think Money.
That's it. Mad Money, yeah. So, yeah,
Don't
bit
watch
of a
it.
guy. So watch it if you want to lose some cash, by all accounts. But yeah, I think he's pretty fucking funny, to be fair. But it's a bit outrageous.
He's just a grown up influencer, mate. He's just a grown up crypto influencer that did it in the stock market. He's an absolute joke.
Yeah.
But funny to watch.
Actually, while we're on the topic of kind of stock influencery funny people, have you seen this Dave Portnoy video? There was one of these.
Yeah.
I think it was the Wall Street Bets chairman that brought this up. But David Portnoy is CEO of Barstool Sports. And he used to do this stock market thing where he rang his bell every day and he'd go trading, whether it was on a live stream or something, but it was absolute gold dust. We'll have to play the video actually over the top here because we can't get it up on screen to live reacts, just the tools, but we'll get it up. But he starts in like November 1920, and then he goes through this whole the whole mega bull cycle, absolutely hyping it, thinking it is fucking hilarious, ringing his bell, made him millions, and then you just see it slowly turn over, and he's like losing $1 million a day. And we'll get the video in here because it is fucking class. But I
remember him like hyper the bull run, like when he was going off in interviews, like everyone on fucking Wall Street thinks they're a fucking genius, but I just dipped into the game and made like $10 million. Like,
yeah. And he was. I think he was making that.
He was making good money, man. And then, obviously the market rolled, and he rolled with it.
Oh man, we need to get the facts on his Bitcoin. Bought Bitcoin, I think like 30k, sold like and a dip below or something like that. We went on to Rocket. Just completely fumbled crypto so hard, like never sold all his Bitcoin for like nothing, and then bought Safe Moon at the top or something. It's just absolute class. I remember seeing his tweet. He's like, "What do I buy?" And it was like this coin, or this coin, and like the community decided or something. He went with Safe Moon, which is a joke. And yeah, you realise that if you could go back to March 2020, we're all worth 100 mil because it was just absolute madness.
You knew a guy with Safe. You knew the guy was.
Oh my God. I knew a guy with SafeMoon. Right. So this is the story. So there's this guy I know, I used to work with him. He was a sound guy, lovely bloke and stuff. Just didn't work out I was doing a small business with him and a friend of mine as well. Anyway, he messages my housemate one time and he's like, oh yeah, I was like, yeah. I was like, we were talking about crypto and stuff, absolute bull run. We were flying, making loads of cash, loving it. And this guy's like, yeah, I bought $5,000 worth of SafeMoon like a month ago. And I was like, what? And I was like, this is fucking insane. And I checked the price from like 3-4 weeks ago, and it had done like 100x since he bought. And then not only that, it went on to do like another 10x. Like if I'd have bought SafeMoon, then I'd have done 30x on the day that I was talking to him about it. So he'd probably done like, 300-400, maybe 1,000x on his $5,000. Why he put $5,000 in, I don't know. He's not that rich. But then listen to this. I'm like, get him on the fucking phone because he's fucking rich. This guy is rich. I'm like, I know for a fact if you bought this 2 weeks ago, never mind 3 or 4 weeks ago, you have $500,000, $1 million. Like, because it's, I can look at the chart. I know it's gone up that much.
Yeah.
And I got him on the fucking phone, and he's like, I was like, oh, where's the wallet? Like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, well, it was on my old phone. On my old phone, my trust wallet it was in a trust wallet. It was on my old phone. I was like, where's the fucking phone? And he's like, oh, it's broke. I've given it to like Music Magpie or something like that. And I'm like, oh my God. Like,
what's Music Magpie?
Well, you like trade your phone in, they come and pick up your broken phone and this. And I'm like, oh my God, that's insane.
No.
I was like, well, it's all right though. Just get your seed phrase up. Like, you can log into your trust wallet anywhere. What the fuck's a seed phrase? What is a seed phrase? I was like, it's 12 words where it says that you must save this at all times or something, like to ever access your wallet if you lose it again. And like, I was like, he's not got it. He has not got it. Didn't jot it down. This is the kind of guy I was working with. Lovely man, but not astute in this kind of thing. And I swear to God, it must have been several mils worth of SafeMoon when I was trying to contact him, and I was like, get back in touch with these things, get it back at all costs. I didn't want
several mil.
Well, I reckon he did on his $5,000, like 300-400x. He bought it like early. So I don't know what to say. But though, I didn't want to tell him. I didn't want to tell him how much. I think because I was lying to him. I was like, find a fucking way, mate. I'll do anything to help you because that's a lot. It's a lot of trust. You weren't even that asked. I was just like, but so he took 2 mils, and then that's where these stories of people, that guy making 5.7 bill off Shiba, they aren't that ridiculous because TikTok took over and people were just buying fucking anything.
Yeah, they really were.
It was absolutely insane. But yeah, that was that guy, and God,
that is fucked. He just like didn't take the seed phrase down. Just wasn't even really that arsed. And I know couldn't realize it in his own head. Like,
I knew in his character as well. When he said he didn't have it, I knew full well he did not have it.
Oh my God, mate, that is absolutely tragic as fuck. Were you like saying to him, "I'll cut a deal with you. Like, I'll do if I can get it 5%." Or like...
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I was like, "Look, like, let's fucking do this thing." I was like, "Let's fucking find this at all costs, and you'll make a lot of money if you bring this to me or whatever." And he's like, "It's a no-go, bro." He's like, it's not going to happen. I cannot get that back." And it was just like, I was like, how can someone so...
Mate, I'd have driven to the factory and been like, I need the fucking phone now.
It's like anything. I need it. Like, we need to fucking dissect. Get me the old motherboard, get me the SIM card, get whatever the fuck that was on that phone and bring it back to me. And do you know what? Not just that, he's minus 5k. He's not even, never mind plus 2 mil, you're 5 bags down. It's whether he was completely bullshitting or not is another question, but it's in his character. I think it's completely possible. And
To be fair, bro, at the height of the bull market, I lost like 70 grand's worth of doggy that I had not taken the seed phrase down for the encrypted I encrypted the wallet with a password, and just
long gone.
And all I can do is look at it, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, to be fair though, that's, you're thinking back, was it when we were messing around with it? That's 2014, 2013. Like, you know, fair enough. 8 years is different, but 8 weeks, it's like, it's like, you know, 8 weeks, bro. Like not 8 years, but yeah, that was pretty insane. Pretty insane.
Did you have some GCR metaphors, or
tell you what, I wanted to talk about this. Maybe we wrap things up. Probably shouldn't have left this till the end, because I think this is actually a bit of one of the juicier things that we could have talked about. Really interesting this. So there was a tweet the other day. If anyone doesn't follow GCR Rebirth, is it on normal? Gigantic Rebirth, yeah, GCR on Twitter. So this guy is a bit of a beast, and there was a few tweets that came out the other day that I thought was super interesting, and I'll get it up now. So these are the tweets, and what he brought up, I thought this was pretty sick. So this is in a Discord server, and I'll read it out for anyone who may be listening on a different platform. But likely that 90% plus of your profits will come during one brief moment or season in the market where the stars are aligned for the innate edge you possessed in life to be lucrative. Work on conditioning yourself to value the money enough to keep it next time this happens. Many believe, due to macro recession, that such memes and other such memes that new verticals will never arise again in crypto, but I believe this underestimates how adaptive and creative the Ponzi builders and marketers are who enter crypto to be in financial alchemy. Most of the current edges are already saturated with sophisticated participants, but the great thing about crypto is that new verticals are always arising that require some time to become efficient. The early DeFi degens, yield farmers, were able to make the most money in 2020, not due to sophistication, but in some part being the first ones to crack the game. Similar dynamic unfolded with early NFT apes, so on and so forth. Now, I thought this was really quite a profound couple of messages, because it's something that I have found to be absolutely true in crypto. And it's pretty interesting. You know, you look back through history, particularly, so 2017, we had ICOs. Whoever the hell was investing in these speculative ICOs early did 1,000x on them all, probably retired, and are some of these 10,000 ETH people we know about now. We then had, as GCR mentioned, we had the likes of yield farming. We spoke about meme coins how many times already this episode. We had NFTs, GameFi, these rebase protocols like Wonderland Time and OHM. And I'm not exaggerating here. Most of them, for early participants, did thousands of X's. Like, it's not just your standard 10x altcoin. These are onto early Ponzi's that went absolutely crazy. And kind of what GCR is referring to there is, we're sat in a brutal bear market right now, and this isn't the time for this kind of stuff. But, you know, to think that there's not going to be similar Ponzi's, there's going to be similar opportunities, given how much innovation and stuff is in the space, I think this is a huge bit of alpha and a huge meta, and something that I've mentioned to you loads of times, where it's like, you've got to keep your eye out for the next ridiculous thing. JPEGs were ridiculous. People having 100,000% interest on their DeFi coins was ridiculous. But these lasted for months and months, if not years, of this kind of happening over and over again. Meme coins. Shiba Inu went from 10k to 40 bill in the space of 14 months. And like, there's too many times along the way that you let your too much common sense kind of get in the way of that. But I just thought it was really interesting to hear it from the guy who, has made $20 million in the past month trading up and down, to more or less explain this. And he also, kind of what he said there was, you can be scalp trading, you can be scalp trading, altcoins here and there for profits, this and that. But if you write a few times on things that truly go a little bit wild, that's where you make, your trades your lifetime. And not something I think we should be doing too much now. But when we've got this hype, this liquidity and complete FOMO, either in a new narrative or in a new bull run where people can't spend their money quick enough, I think being able to spot these weird opportunities, these new things, with the understanding that you've got to fucking sell some of it on the way up, I genuinely do believe that is where crazy wealth is made. You've got to be a little bit lucky to spot it early enough, take some profit, don't think it's the future, kind of like the lunatics,
Yeah. I think you're just gonna have to be. I think patience is like one of the main things that I would take away from that. Is just waiting. Like I feel like it's gonna be quite a while until things are getting into that kind of environment again, where people come in with scams and Ponzi's and create loads of shit, and you can make a load of money off something ridiculous and sell it. I think that's gonna be a while away, but yeah, definitely like the patience aspect and just wait until you feel like you have that edge is really quite key.
Again, it's just interesting though. I know you're obviously a very technical trader and stuff as well, and I think you could put NFTs across your door again today and you still wouldn't take it. You don't want it.
Probably not. No,
you wouldn't take it. I'm not sure I could have ever got on board with meme coins. Like I thought I was a level above. I understood the tech a bit too much. I was like, I can't get on board with that. Like I can't buy a completely foundationless token and then do 100,000x, 92 million% Shiba Inu did to the top.
Well, I think there'll be more. I think there'll still be your Ponzi's and everything else, but I think hopefully the next generation, the next wave that we get, there's going to be more fundamental importance of what actually works and what's creating revenue and money. And God knows what the SEC is going to do as well with a lot of this stuff. So
now I do agree with that, but I'm saying the next 10,000x, and I'm not going to pluck 10,000x's out, right? They come from all of them. Yeah, they come from those stupid things. You have 1% of your portfolio and something like that. It's the stuff that's different. It's the stuff that's weird. It's the stuff you rarely understand. I think that in crypto is the stuff you should be looking at, because if it catches fire, it goes mental. You know what I mean? Catching the 20K breakout on Bitcoin back in, 2020 or whatever it was, 2019, then 2019, catching that, what do? You do 320% to the top. But you catch that, there's all them trades will always be there. But I think if you find something weird in crypto, or you find something's catching fire early, I think that's what he's referring to there. And I think it's alpha. And the coolest thing is, all of those things that I mentioned, yield farming, meme coins, NFTs, GameFi, rebase protocols, your Wonderland time, they all came in a 2-year span. We had ICOs back in 2017, but only with Web3 and Ethereum were all of them things possible. And we're going to get more of it. So all I'm trying to say is, don't go shoving 100% of your net worth into anything like that, because you get rugged 9 times out of 10. But if you see something new, innovative, for me, it's always going to get 1 to 5% of my portfolio, or maybe 1 to 2%, depending on how degen it is. But I think that's where the gains come from. And
nice.
sell it on the way up.
bit of alpha to round us off, mate. Nice.
That's it. That's all we've got. But